welcome back. Talk to us about another victory and just how you evaluate your team now a month into the season.
Obviously, the victories of the end goal, what you want to, all the work you do all week long. You want to make sure that you're coming away on Saturdays with success in the scoreboard. It's a zero-sum game, and while we do way more than just want to win on the field, we want to help these guys win in life, become life champions. I think if you look at that, the way the product is on Saturday night, it was good to see the collective buy-in on all three phases. It was good to see a lot of newcomers start to step into roles that are of a more veteran type of contribution. And it's just, as for me, in my perspective as a head coach, I felt like collectively as a team, you saw a team performance out there, and I was very excited for that. We got a long ways to grow still too, and we're going to get after it again this week, but I thought it was a great game for us to evaluate the entire team on it and really find some key nuggets that we need to improve.
Coach, I noticed another great game from Kurt Scobie. Talk about him. He was obviously had good games early on, but he's been over 100 the last couple of games. Let's talk about what he's been to your team.
Well, I think Scooby's a great addition to our team, and then what I appreciate about Scooby the most is his work ethic to keep learning, to keep understanding, to take the coaching, to change, and to become the type of player we believe he can become. So every day at practice, you see a guy who's one of the hardest working guys out there. To see a guy in our one-on-one conversation with him as coaches to say, what do I have to do to improve? And that right there, that spirit, that type of mindset, it's that real growth mindset we appreciate. And all of our players, and I think that goes on to quite a few other positions. But when you have a running back that can, produce over 100 yards of rushing, that gives you a good chance to win the ball game. I think where you look at also this last game, guys like DJ Morgan and Sammy Fanua really started to add some things to the running game pot. Add that to a guy like a Ryan Adams and the whole mixture. I feel like the collective running back barn is full, and so but in that, the offensive line needs to really be mentioned, and even our perimeter blocking with our receiving core. I think our running backs will be the first to tell you that they don't do it on their own. But all of them have the ability to break away. All of them have the ability to make plays, and that's what you want from that position. But I was really excited that the offensive line took a big step forward as working as a unit, and you see some of the perimeter blocking that's happening. It's a good thing.
Do they have to work with the backs and know where or is it just all scheme?
Well, there's schematically, you're trying to create holes. You're trying to create gaps and opportunities for the running back. So they need to know. The running back needs to know where things are fitting. And in that, though, you have a running back that can make a play, can have a suddenness about him, to make the cut, to read the defense. That's where don't want to take anything away from a running back's talent. It's an 11-to-1 ratio. It takes 11 guys to make a play work. It takes one guy to mess the whole thing up. So that 11-to-1 ratio, our team buys in, understands that, hey, man, everybody does their role well. You're going to be all right.
And another good effort from your defense. Looks like they're continuing to improve from game to game, which is what you like.
Yeah, well, I love the improvement. I love the fact that, once again, the 11-to-1 ratio, the collectiveness of the group, doing their responsibilities, understanding where they have to fit when it comes to the run fits, pass fits. It's... Defense is in football, just the football period, it's the ultimate team game. One guy just can't come out there and say, hey, look at me, my talents are going to be there and make the big difference. It's the ultimate team game. So defensively, to answer your question, you see a group of 11 guys out there that are really knowing where they need to fit, but there's a commitment to the team, a commitment to each other to say, hey, we're going to play like our hair's on fire. We're going to tackle better. I thought tackling was much better this last week. And we're going to do what it takes to make our team successful, and they're catching that vision.
And talk about this week's opponent. Obviously, you guys had some really good games within the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, I think every GNAC contest is a great game, and once again, it's another league contest. And so it happens to be Central Washington coming to our place, which we really take a lot of pride in playing in our place. We have one of the best places to play. Our fans are outstanding. It's just a great atmosphere. So with Central Washington, you've got a group that's finding their legs, finding their rhythm. They put together 2 wins. Their defense is flying around well. I think offensively, their O-line's really moving well. They got Jordan Todd, the running back. I think he's a special player. He's a one step and go. I think he's got the ability to break away. They're playing 2 quarterbacks with Lane and Nelson, and both those quarterbacks can run. And so you've got to make sure that you prepare a great plan for them, and you also defensively you got to make sure you're able to match what they're doing, because they're trying to create as much chaos as they can, and you see that they're scoring on defense too, and that's a big thing to take note of. So we understand that we've got our hands full with this one, just like any GNAC contest, and so we're going to get to work and put together a great game plan.
Coach, after this past Saturday, a little more focus on the run at St. George. Are you looking to be a little bit more balanced now? You went less than 20 passing attempts on Saturday, a lot more on the rushing attempts. Is this going to be more of a theme to be a little bit more balanced? We're passing a lot early. Now we're running a little bit more according to Saturday. It's just going to be a week-to-week thing based on the opponent.
Well, Stephen, it is always going to be the opponent. It's always going to be what they have. It's always going to be what are they presenting to us. Coach Carlton and the whole offensive staff, they do a really good job of knowing themselves well. And as you look at the opponent, where they're trying to attack you, if you know yourself very well, you know the counter punches. And I thought this last week we knew the counter punches pretty well for what we had, and it just so happened that the run game really showed off out of that.
And then defensively, we'll go back to that. Talked about some of the playmakers you've got and the youngsters you have. This is kind of the point of the season where those young players, and I think you even mentioned it in practice last week, you're not really new guys anymore.
Yeah.
Now you're part of the team, and if you've got the talent, you're there to make plays. I think there were 4 true freshmen that played pretty significant roles for you on Saturday. How are you liking the youth and how they're coming into the system and contributing?
Yeah, I love the youth, and then kind of to answer the totality of your question is the number one thing is if you can play, you got an opportunity here. Whether you're a freshman, senior, if you're the best guy, we're going to play you. And so to have the 4 true freshmen going out there and contributing in a significant manner, it's a compliment to who they are and their willingness to take the mental stress, the physical stress, and find a way to succeed with that. So it's also a credit to our coaching staff to how we develop talent here. It's also just take note. It's just when recruits are looking for an opportunity for a school to play at, you say, hey, what gives you a chance to see the field sooner, but also not just see the field, but just see the field in a real significant manner that you're growing as a player. This is far greater of a step than high school is. So when our guys come here, they realize, man, this is fast, this is very physical, it's like nothing they've ever seen before. And so our coaching staff is I think one of the best in the country about developing talent right away, getting them through the emotional stress of being a newcomer. There's a plan in place that we have. There's a lot we do in training-wise. So, I'm going to take the time to really applaud my coaching staff because they know how to develop talent. They know how to get them ready sooner than later. And so a true freshman's got a real chance to find success. Now, in all that, though, to bring it's also a chemistry. And, that's another thing, credit to my coaching staff, that they know how to bring chemistry together. And like you said, and I do mention to the whole team, there aren't any newcomers anymore. And that newcomer title can sometimes be a debilitating excuse. So this is why we spend so much time and strategically putting a plan in place to get the newcomers into the fold quickly. So now at this time of the year, you have your team. And I thought this last week's victory really showed a whole team effort. I walked away feeling like, okay, they are coming together, gelling. Now the faces aren't so new anymore, and they're finally really starting to take that big step forward to exploding as a whole collective group. So we're going to challenge them this week. Keep challenging. We got a long ways to go, and in all that, we're going to make sure we continue to develop these guys and bring out the absolute very best. When our last snap is played this year, it's always my goal as a head coach to say, did we maximize this team? Did we maximize them to the fullest? And to me, that's how you evaluate a whole year, and that's a standard we have.
My next question has to do more with leadership, and one of the things late in the game, Chad Jeffries was off the field, your second-string offense was in, but he was on a receiver for not sticking with a block.
Yeah.
You know, and next play, Elfers runs 70 yards right behind that same receiver that Jeffrey's just had some words with. What are you seeing with some of those young leaders on your team?
Well, what you see from that is guys taking ownership of the whole thing. You know, it doesn't matter the time of the game or who's in there. It's the standard. And we have a very high standard at every position and with our whole team. So if you're on the field for us, it's not charity time. It's not, hey, just go have fun and all that. It's, hey, there's respect the standard, play to the standard. You're on the field, so take that next step. Give us that full commitment. So to see the young leaders doing what you said, exactly what you said we're doing, that to me speaks a lot that they're really the buy-in's there and the ownership is there. And that's what we need as we go into this back half of the season. I mean, this is game 5 now. And, you know, there's 6 games left that we know about in the regular season. And so we've got to make sure we are pouring everything into each week, each day, each opportunity just to win that day. And the leadership coming from the group now, it's needed and it's timely. And so to see Chad do that and to know about that, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And then last thing, you did talk about respecting the standard, and that's kind of an on-the-field thing. But off the field, I think the standard that you and your coaching staff have of being a servant in the community is going to be represented this week with your participation in the Coach to Cure MD program. Your coaches will be wearing that patch there and hosting some guests over the weekend. I just wanted to turn it over to you and let you talk about what this program means to you and just kind of how that fits into your overall philosophy.
Yeah, well, you know, we are about building champions while pursuing championships, and every one of these players will go out into the professional world, and we don't want them just to make a lot of money. We want them to do all that, provide well for their families, but make a difference in their communities. So part of this week is with the getting involved with Coach to Cure program and helping to defeat Duchenne disease. You know, we wear these patches on the sideline to bring recognition to one of the diseases that really debilitating to boys at a young age, and there has been little research about it, and we're relatively young in the whole research and the investment that's gone into finding a cure for it. So anything we can do to bring more awareness to this we're glad to do so, and we're especially glad to share the evening this Saturday with Carter and Ryan, who are 2 young men who are battling, 2 young warrior men who we feel like you know they're doing an amazing job of just being champions in life and just showing you and the whole team about, hey man, this is how you be a warrior. This is how you make a difference with your life. Just keep going despite the circumstances. So we're so excited to be with them. Another way though we're getting involved also is you know, one of our alums, Brandon Huffman, who's obviously done a great job professionally, but his own daughter Avery is battling some health challenges, and this Saturday we've got a fun run going on for Avery. And, you know, for us as a school to get behind Brandon and his family in this time of need, we're very excited to do so. And, you know, not just our prayers, but in our actions is trying, to just support that. So collectively we're trying to do, when I say we're trying to win it all, we're trying to be those men on the field that are great competitors, that you know, obviously pursuing a championship, pursuing the victory with every game, with every practice. But in that, we're really looking for the key is the translation into life. And that's the big difference about this program. If it doesn't translate to life, then really what good is it? Because, you know what, this is the entertainment value is going to come and go. And believe me, we want to win a national championship every single year. We want to win a GNAC championship every single year. We want to win every game, and we're going to put every effort to that. But ultimately, it's about building champions for life and these difference makers for life. So as we're building champions, you know, the opportunity to get involved with these efforts that we're talking about, it's exciting for us. This is the big wins for us. So in that, we're excited for this weekend. Another chance to be at home. I've been on the road 3 weeks, and now I only had 1 home game, so the chance in front of our fans is exciting. So, in that, one of our #1 fans, like say, happy birthday, my mom. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Victor.
All right.